have all had that person in Roblox who just lies about every single thing. I know I've had him. I know I used to be one of them. And this situation got a little out of hand. Now, I wasn't originally going to post a video on it, but it got a little bit more out of hand, as you'll see in one of the other clips, where I have to give someone proof in order to solidify their belief in this entire situation, because it just got so out of hand. I'll show you, hold on. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. My name is Denial, and today I will be your host in the weird things that go on in Roblox that definitely should be banned rather than adding age verification, which I'm not going to deny. In this situation, I wish age verification worked just a little bit more. Let's get into it. So half of what happened didn't really how would I say this? Half of what happened didn't really get on video, but I do remember what happened, and you can sort of see it being spoken about in the video, so I'm not really gonna play that part, but I'll just let you know what happened. So the problem girl in this video will now and further on be referred to as C, okay? Because that's the beginning of her username, figure it out if you will. But C, right, had been given a house by Penny, who is a big presence in this video. So C was given a house by Penny. C traded a neon ride Clementine owl for the house. It was not exactly an original house. Penny had followed a tutorial, but she had still put time and energy into making it. So Penny had not been notified of something that I thought she was notified of. So I go, hey, did C ever tell you about her wanting to trade the house? Because C had told me that C had wanted to trade the house. And I was like, maybe you should talk to Penny about it. And she was like, okay, yeah, whatever, I'll do that tomorrow. It had been about a week after that interaction, or more or less, I don't know. And I go to Penny, I'm like, hey, did C ever talk to you about the house? And she was like, no, what do you mean? I was like, oh, well, C was going to trade the house, the grinding home that you gave her. And I told her to ask you about it, but based on your reaction, I guess she never did. And Penny goes, oh, yeah, no. So basically that happens, that whole situation happens, and then lo and behold, I think the next day, C joins me and Penny while I'm building Penny's house. And so Penny wasn't exactly stoked about the fact that C had joined, especially remembering what I had told her the other day, and wasn't exactly nice to C. Now, I don't support being rude in any way, but I definitely think that C was in the wrong for not telling her. So C claims that she didn't remember, and that she was really sorry, and that she was tired when I was talking to her, which, it was late at night, and, understandable, I suppose. Anyway, naturally, Penny does not believe her, and things start getting a bit heated, and the argument dies down after Penny leaves, but then Penny joins back again, and C was still in the server. This is when things start to go a little, south, I guess. So now this is when C starts apparently lying about her brother being in distress and that he's not moving. So I'll just play the close-ups of the chat, and I'll just show you. So basically, that's what happened in sort of like a nutshell. This was the first interaction. This happened like 2 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago. So as you can see, it's not exactly good to do that. I think that when you're wrong, or when you know you did something wrong, you should be handling situations in a better way rather than lying about an emergency. And she would later go on to say that she knew how to check his pulse and how to check if he was still breathing because she saw it in a YouTube video, to which I replied, "How did you know they were real doctors?" And she goes, "Because they were in the hospital." I said, "Oh, well, how did you know it was a real hospital and that all the equipment weren't just props?" And she goes, "Oh, because they were patients." And that's where I sort of caught her a bit more solidified in the lie, because there's a law called HIPAA, and HIPAA basically doesn't really allow doctors to reveal anything about their patient, like their condition or anything like that, and having them in a video without their consent would be a violation of that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, my dad did bring up a valid point when I was telling him about this, that if they had signed a waiver that it wouldn't be illegal, but I didn't really think of that at the time, so yeah. She then goes on to mention that the doctors left a note at her door, which, think about it, does that sound realistic at all to you? A doctor leaving a note at your door in an emergency just sounds outrageous and untrue. I'm pretty sure doctors would prefer to call or even just show up in person, which would also be a huge inconvenience to do, the latter option. I think a call or a text would be what they would do, since her brother would likely be in critical condition if this was true. And then after we confronted her about the fact that, doctors don't do that, she left and said that she had to leave. So, I don't even know, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. For the person I'm making this video to, let me know what you think about this entire situation, because I think it's just bogus. You'd think after that situation that things would calm down and we probably wouldn't have another interaction like this, but you were wrong, okay? We did have another interaction like this, and it kind of went the same way, except completely different. I'm just gonna roll the clips. So the clips actually are not working. Haha, yay. So I'll just explain what happened, because this time the person that I'm recording this video to was actually there and knows the situation. So me, Penny, and let's call the person I'm making this video to B. Me, Penny, and B were all on a server while I was building. And then C joins. C is friends with B and has been for what C said was about a year. Now C says, "Hey B, da 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 da," and they start talking, and Penny is upset because of what happened like 2 days ago. And obviously I am too, but I'm staying quiet because I'm building. And so
Penny goes and is like, "Oh, you're friends with C?" And B is like, "Yeah, I'm friends with C." And so C starts denying everything, because we started telling B about what had happened with C's brother and how C was lying about it and this and that. And then C goes, "I never said anything about my brother. I never mentioned what condition he was in. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember." And me and Penny are like, "Oh, so we're going that route." And we start explaining to
B that, hey, she's lying. Like, she is being a liar on so many levels. And C starts getting upset. B is like, "Do either of you guys have any proof?" And I was like, yes, I recorded it, I have proof, I can show you. And so B is like, "Okay, well, just show me at some point." And I was like, "Okay, I will." And C is like, "Oh, so you're taking sides with, denial and Penny." And I'm like, what? And so B goes, no, I'm not picking sides. If I was picking sides, I would pick you. She's talking to C. But I'm not picking sides. I'm just following the proof, Proof. And later, Penny leaves again because Penny's upset. And C is just going on and on about how, you know, they'd been friends for a year and how she was being such a horrible bestie, da-da-da. And she was like, I can't believe you're picking sides. I can't believe you're taking their side. And I said, B isn't taking sides. She's just listening to the proof. And then C goes, shut up, denial. It's just like, okay, bro, that's childish. Like, what the hell are you on about? But I guess, bro, I guess. But that's how that situation went, and that was really freaking annoying. It was one of the most annoying things I ever went through. But if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, stay tuned for more Adopt Me videos. That's literally all I post on here. When school starts, I will be posting a little less, but right now I'm going to try to post every other day. When school starts, I'll probably post every Friday and every Sunday. But you know what? Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.